My parents were long-term and long-time community advocates and public servants. My dad was the pastor of Mount Calvary Baptist Church, which is in the district that I serve, and had served in that capacity for many years. And through that, we learned a very simple mantra of servant leadership, which I didn't know how to coin that phrase until I got to graduate school. There's actually a whole field of study around servant leadership. And it kind of led me to, after a very nice sports career, to come home and just serve publicly. And I think I probably have served in every capacity imaginable within my district. I've been on the community board, the president of my Democratic club, on the community advisory board to Interfaith Hospital. So very many capacities. I've actually served as a chief of staff for an assembly member and ran Senate campaigns. So in some regard, it's a natural transition, but for me, I just really wanted to serve publicly, and when the opportunity presented itself, I took the opportunity. Well, I think it's small business and entrepreneurship. I think that we have an opportunity to capitalize on a burgeoning economy in Brooklyn, and specifically in my district, which is tourism and hospitality. And I want to make sure that I can increase. We have a horrible number of 50% black male unemployment, and I intend to, in my first year, make a significant dent in that through building capacity in small businesses so that they can hire more. So for my district, we have what is called an aging improvement district. A couple of years ago, the mayor and the city council speaker at the time got together and created an initiative called Age Friendly New York, realizing that the baby boomers in the city of New York were aging quite rapidly, even at a faster rate than some other cities. So they instituted aging improvement districts, of which there are 4, and I have one in my district. So I really want to concentrate on making sure that we make the city age friendly, but in particular my district. And I want to bring a NORC, which is a naturally occurring retirement community, to protect the seniors and allow them to stay in their homes longer. If I had my druthers, I would be on the aging committee. I mean, I think I'm currently a policy analyst right now as we speak for the New York City Council on 2 very important committees, aging and veterans. And I believe that I've begun some very good work in supporting seniors throughout, and I'd like to continue that. So I would probably, if I could, it would be health or aging. I have Interfaith Hospital in my district, which is up for closure, as is Litch. So health, and I'm looking very closely at having an opportunity to serve as the chair of health or the chair of aging. Well, my naivete tells me that the hospital will not close. The complexion of the hospital will be altered, because the way the healthcare is going to be delivered is going to change. So really just protecting those services that are essential to that community is what I'm up against right now. So not so much saving the hospital as it's been for the last few years, but really making sure, because as long as the campus remains intact and the essential services for the community are offered, I think that's a victory. So that's really my I don't believe that it's going to close and remain a vacant campus. I believe that if we can, as stakeholders and as community leaders, present a plan of reorganization that limits some of the liability, but provides access to the essential health services, that it'll remain. But no hospital in the city, well, certainly in Brooklyn, is going to remain as it's remained in the past. It's just not cost effective at this point. We're seeing with the Affordable Care Act and with some other initiatives, we're seeing that there is going to be a shift in the way services are delivered, medical services are delivered in the city and in the state. So we need to be in front of that. We need to be making sure as leaders that we have the services necessarily that are indicative to the constituencies that we serve in our particular districts. So for me, diabetes, high blood pressure, infant mortality, those kinds of things have been disproportionate in our community. So making sure those services are available, and obviously making sure that we have emergency and urgent care. But some of the other services will probably be altered just because of the new means of service delivery that's being offered throughout the state. We, in our preliminary evaluation of the district from an educational standpoint, we found very quickly that there were no gifted and talented programs in my district at all. And I refuse to believe, as most parents do, that we don't have children who meet the criteria for a gifted and talented program. So I think very quickly We're going to galvanize a team of people to make sure that we can meet with the mayor-elect's people and whoever the new chancellor is to see to it that we have and prove that we have the criteria that makes us able to have gifted and talented programs. We know what it does for a child and a community's esteem to be deemed that. Like, you know, so some theorists would say that that whole structure leaves a lot to be desired, and I don't argue that. But we'll argue it from the standpoint of having a gifted and talented program, and then we'll argue its merits. But we believe that we definitely have children that meet the criteria. And characteristically, over the last 4 or 5 decades, we've had gifted and talented programs. How it came to be that we lost them is questionable, but we can't live in the past. We just like to go forward with that.